And everyone's still here. Oh, excellent. Fantastic. This is a great relief.
Nice. Good job, Joanna. Good job.
Online, we're living my nightmare a little bit from like hosting like business software webinars where we're talking about very serious business activities. It says where is Nat? Let's see. I'm just gonna check in real quick while we figure out. It says the host has hidden Nat. Oh my goodness. I need to go unhide Nat. While I do that, please do drop in a question or two. I have Simona, Beth, and Betsy's questions from our previous discussion. If anyone else has a question that they would like to drop in the chat, I will see you there. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Look, you can't have an online event without one thing going wrong.
Yes.
This is like, let's see, show on stage. What? Why were you hidden, my dear? I'm so sorry, Nat. Welcome back.
Okay, we're here. Like, why?
Wonderful. So let's.
Myself.
Yeah. I'm like, Nat is going to do their own Q&A. Yeah. Wonderful. So let's, Shimmy, we're now in the kind of like chiller free form section here. So first of all, thank you guys so much for both of your insights in that conversation and your openness. I could see in the chat that a lot of folks were resonating with the stuff you're sharing. So thank you so much for that. Fantastic. All right. I have 5 questions. We have 15 minutes, so maybe we can take a couple minutes to answer each of them, and we'll do our best to address it. So I'm going to drop in Simona's question here first, and then Markel and Jam, we will get to y'all's after we address these first 3. So Simona asked, how do you understand, besides relying on your instinct, which is an awesome call out, when rejection is actually redirection? So we live in such a strong never give up culture, also a good call out. Sometimes it's healthier to be curious and explore different opportunities and paths. I think we were just kind of touching on this a little bit with like financial rejection and fear, which is maybe one of the strongest signals of like bills due. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to bills due. And then maybe we can explore. But yeah, either one of you feel free to take a second and
I would say that you always want to look at the reality of your situation. A lot of times our feelings can get in the way, and then we allow our feelings to make decisions for us. But behind every feeling is a thought and a reality. So I think you just have to really look at what's going on in your situation and ask yourself, do I really like this? You know, is this really benefiting me? Is this really what I want to do? And I think in examining those things, you'll be able to say, okay, is this really just me being in my own way, or is it more so the reality of my situation that is hindering my success?
Mm-hmm. Totally. That's great. Mm-hmm. I think too, like this never give up culture. I think like certain things are going to drive us, and we're not going to want to give up because we wake up every day and we want to do that. Like, mm-hmm. And then other things, if we're really trying to, fitting a square peg in a round hole, whatever, like if you're really trying to like do something that's not working, like maybe that is cause to take a step back again and reassess, like, is this the direction for me? Is this where I need to go? I think you kind of answered your own question, Simona, of like, it is healthier to be curious and explore different opportunities. Sometimes you like, maybe this specific thing is not the path.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to give up one for the other. Definitely. You can explore and still try to do what you want to do at the same time.
Definitely.
Those are great call outs too, of like, it's not never give up or always give up. It's feel it out. It's not, you aren't like a quitter or a perseverer. These are not labels to put on yourself. It's more about what serves you in that moment. Great insight there, y'all. I love having smart friends. Okay. Next question, if you're ready, from Beth, which is one that I actually would love to step in here because it's the one area that I have expertise in. Beth asks, how effective and important is social media? People seem fearless to take the opportunity to bash folks. 100%. Quite frightening. not a fun energy all the time. When I work with clients, I am uninterested in forcing anyone to be on social media if it doesn't feel right for them. I like to encourage people to pay attention to the emotions that social media makes them feel. I encourage folks to schedule posts in advance, to limit the scroll, because the psychology of how all of these apps are designed to keep us on so that we generate more user data that they can sell and become more profitable. Whatever you can do to limit your time on your phone with Instagram, you can actually like use like a planner app like Plannerly or whatever that's called, or Buffer or something, and do that on your desktop computer. And you can literally go to Instagram.com and log in and respond to direct messages and story replies from a web browser, which guess what's not fun to do is use Instagram on a web browser. You don't want to stick around there. So I would say like when you, yes, Jam's like, I'm not going to be on TikTok. That's fine because Jam's YouTube videos are awesome enough. So go subscribe. But yeah, I think being on social media effectiveness is going to be rigged against you as a small business owner or creator. It is not designed to serve you. It's designed to, serve Mark Zuckerberg's beach houses. So being gentle with yourself too when you're on social media. That, and I will follow up in our follow-up email. I actually have a little zine that I made about how to use Instagram without it destroying your life as a business owner. So I'll pop that into our email. Thanks for that question, Beth. I'll give a second if I would love to get to everyone's questions though. If any of, I don't want to be a big Instagram bully. All right. We'll keep the train moving. That's good, Beth. I'm glad that you have good followers. Betsy asked, I'm excited about this one. As a creative, I find that I am more sensitive, which we had been talking about when we were preparing this event, talking about being an emotional, connected person where you're drawing on your emotions to create. So I love that you asked this question, Betsy. So you're more tapped into yours and others' emotions. If I'm already feeling vulnerable, this can be especially challenging. Any tips or tools for how to best handle this?
So this is a good one. Lean into the unknown. I think we're really good with thinking that we know how people feel about us, or we know what people are thinking, and you really have no idea. Like you say, you're tapped into what other people are thinking and feeling and their emotions. I'm sorry, you said their emotions. You don't really know anything but how you feel about it. So if you're feeling good about it, let's go with it. Don't assume that other people feel some kind of way about you and what you're doing unless they tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to empathize with if you're already feeling vulnerable, this is emotional experience of creating and sharing that, it's like one thing to create the thing, but it's another thing to share the thing. And so, I think just being rooted in why you're doing it and having your own back on that, like you're saying, Deondra, and assuming the best there. I think in the moment, just, tap into your own breathing, your own reality, like what you know to be true about the situation. And, like Deondra said, just unless somebody specifically said, I hate you and your craft sucks, you have no reason to
Also, talk about something that we don't have to listen to at all. I'm like, wow, it sounds like you have some stuff going on. Yeah. Sometimes a really mean rejection is easier to handle because you're like, wow, that has nothing to do with me.
Exactly. The projection like Deondra talked about.
Yeah, totally. Shall we I'll drop in Markel's question here because I think it connects nicely, which is how to handle anxiety and not let it make your choices for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nat, I don't want to steal the floor from...
I don't know. You got it.
Okay. So anxiety is my thing, right? Yeah. So I think we all have to know when it's anxiety first. You have to really know, is what I'm experiencing, is this anxiety? And you can kind of know that by if you're avoiding something or if you're compulsing about it. Like if I'm overthinking it, if I'm thinking too much about it, I think that's the best way to identify it first. And if you can identify it, then you can say, okay, am I running from this because I'm feeling anxious about it? How about I run towards it? Or am I avoiding doing this thing because it's super scary? How about I try to do the opposite of it? So you really have to be aware, as Nat said, about how you feel. And once if your heart is beating or if your hands are sweating about it, then you kind of know it's anxiety and you don't let it take control. You actually kind of do the opposite of what it's telling you to do. And it's probably telling you a scary story. Don't do this thing, because if you do this thing, this is going to happen. And that's not always true. So you want to challenge yourself. It's super hard to do it, but you definitely want to challenge yourself to do the thing that your anxiety is telling you not to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It also reminds me of Big Magic. It's a great book. I listened to the book too on audio. It's really I've done both now, read it and heard it. But in the beginning, they talk about fear and that fear and anxiety, I feel are pretty hand in hand. And that it's allowed to, if you're on a road trip, it's allowed to go with you. You can know that it's gonna probably show up. It can ride with you, but it can't drive. It can't choose the radio. It can't, it can't tell you the directions. It can't drive the car. It can be there. You're allowed to sit in the back, but you're not going to steer the ship, kind of thing. So just kind of addressing, this is anxiety. I see you. Hey, what's up, fear? We're here again. Gotcha. I heard what you said, and I'm going to keep driving my own car. Thank you.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, Nat, what did you say?
Liz Gilbert. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because it connects well with Jam's question, which is, and just acknowledging, I love that we're all kind of sharing some pretty similar emotions of the anxiety and the darkness. I love talking about darkness on a webinar. Let's go. So I am grateful for this question. What do you do when you are stuck in that doom mentality for no reason? Things are fine, technically. I say on paper, it looks fine, but all I can think about is the worst case scenarios Jam asks. I'm really curious about, how to step out.
It's always helpful to acknowledge that you're having that thought, and then to flip it. We're going to go to the worst case scenario, but what's the best that can happen? Literally, I'm not considering all the positives. And so sometimes you have to really tap into, okay, this is super scary and this is really the worst that can happen. What is actually the best thing that can happen? And what's other options? Let's consider those, and maybe you'll feel differently about it.
Yeah, allowing yourself to have good things, not that's again kind of a scarcity mentality of staying in that doom of just no, nothing's good enough, this is just bad. Considering an abundant perspective of I have what I need and more. People are going to come at me next week, I'm going to get 5 new clients that want to record an album or whatever, creating even planting seeds for what you do want to happen. But yeah, considering even a thought experiment of what's the best, how could this go so well? What's the best case scenario? Yeah.
We're good at telling ourselves scary stories. I mean, It's super easy to think about all the scary things, but when you sit down and you really pour into the positive, it just, you feel differently about it, so.
Ooh, Betsy said, or the doom of being successful. We talked about this a bit, not in this session yet, but there's the fear of failure and not getting it, but then there's the fear of success. What if I can't handle it? I mean, we've talked about what if I get 1,000 followers and then I can't handle meeting all of that? If you're trying to get clients for something and it's I really only need 5 or 10 clients. I don't want to get 100 or 1,000 clients. What do you do in that?
That's a great, unfortunately, stopping point for us because we are at the 45-minute mark. I could go on and on. Maybe we'll have a follow-up event on reframing success because I think that's fascinating. But everybody give a great shout out in the chat for our amazing speakers, Deondra and Nat. I'm so grateful for their insights and their presence here today. You'll get an email later today or tomorrow with some resources and info and follow-up and the link to rewatch if you had to drop off early. Thank you all so much for your presence and being here. I appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
It's we are going to auto end in 12 seconds, so I will go ahead and say goodbye, and I'll see y'all later.
Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.